Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to talk about the recent announcement from Blizzard Entertainment that pretty much Heroes of the Storm is being put on life support. And, if you've seen my previous videos, one of my more popular videos actually from this year is one called Heroes of the Storm is extremely underrated. And I still kind of stand by that. Heroes of the Storm is a great game, it's a great MOBA, it's one of the few MOBAs that my friends and I could play after getting burnt out on Dota 2. It truly, I think, has a lot of unique things about it, and I think unfortunately it really never got popular due to it having a late start. By the time that game came out and the MOBA phase was, kind of not new anymore, people either have their Smite or their League of Legends or their Dota 2 or something along those lines, and not a lot of people are willing to make the switch. But I think Heroes of the Storm was good, and I wish it had done better. Of course it wasn't a perfect game, it had its issues, and the payment model was far from perfect, but I respect it, and I think it was underrated. And the only reason it seemed like it was actually still being, popular was because Blizzard was throwing a bunch of money into it. I mean, they completely relaunched the game at some point, called Heroes 2.0, Heroes of the Storm 2.0, and they literally just took Overwatch's progression system with the loot boxes and, different rarities and everything, and put it into Heroes of the Storm, and it obviously didn't really work as well as it does in Overwatch, because in Overwatch you just have all the heroes for free. But either way, Heroes of the Storm always had a player base because it's a Blizzard game and it was being funded a ton, but it didn't really ever reach mass popularity, and that's why the decision for Blizzard to kind of put the game on life support isn't that unexpected. And so I'm going to put in the description down below the full blog post on the Blizzard site so you can read it all, because it's a lot to read and I think it's all interesting. It's too long to just read fully, so I'm going to read bits and pieces of it. But it starts out saying, we're constantly changing and evolving not only our games, but how we support and grow them. This evolution is vital to our ability to continue doing what we love to do, making great games, and it's what makes Blizzard Blizzard. And then they go on to talk about how, in the past they've had to make hard decisions, and, they're constantly trying new things, and if they didn't have to make tough choices, games like Diablo 2, World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Overwatch, and more would not exist if they hadn't done, things like this in the past. So it's pretty much them saying, unfortunately we have to make hard decisions, and this is one of them, but all the hard decisions we make is what creates these awesome worlds that you like Overwatch and StarCraft and World of Warcraft. And I kind of agree. I mean, it's kind of sugarcoating it, and it's making it seem like the dying of the game is less bad, and that's the point of it. But I mean, I do understand the sentiment. And now into the meat of what is actually happening with Heroes of the Storm. They say, despite the change, Heroes of the Storm remains our love letter to Blizzard's worlds and characters. We'll continue actively supporting the game with new heroes, themed events, and other content that our community loves, though the cadence will change. Ultimately, we're setting up the game for long-term sustainability. We're so grateful for the support the community has shown from the beginning, and the development team will continue to support Heroes with the same passion, dedication, and creativity that has made the game such a unique experience. And, I think it's really strange. I haven't seen too many notes like this by big publishers of them kind of being perfectly transparent on what they're doing. And as much problems I have with Activision Blizzard, this is something I have to kind of applaud, honestly. They're being super transparent, and they're just saying, hey guys, we have to make tough decisions sometimes, and these are the just tough decisions we're making. Here's the Storm kind of gonna get put on life support, but we still are gonna update it. We're still gonna do this and that. Just don't expect as much. And I think that transparency is great. I really haven't seen that from a lot of game developers in a sad point of view like this. Obviously, you can point to developers that have been having a massive success and they can be transparent a lot, but I've never seen someone like when they're kind of, this isn't shutting down the game, but like I said, putting it on life support, I've never seen this much transparency, honestly, and it's refreshing, especially from a AAA title company, because if we see this kind of stuff at all, it's normally by like indie games, and they're like, hey, can't afford to do the servers are having to shut down, sorry guys, and you feel kind of bad. But this is a AAA title company, so it's pretty shocking. But I respect it, honestly, and I like how they specifically, you know, say the game's still going to have new heroes, it's going to have, you know, new events, but they're not going to be at the, you know, frequency that they were before. And then on top of that, they specifically state that they are in it, and they're just trying to set it up so it can, you know, sustain itself long term. They also then go ahead and talk about what the esports are going to be like in the future. They say, we've also evaluated our plans around Heroes esports. After looking at all of our priorities and our options in light of the change with the game, the Heroes Global Championship and Heroes of the Dorm will not return in 2019. This was another very difficult decision for us to make, and, you know, like I said, I appreciate the transparency and everything, but this is something that, you know, besides the updates to the game and them kind of saying it's just being on life support, you know, that can kind of be okay sometimes. I mean, we have games like Super Smash Bros. Melee that have not been helped by the developer in 20 years, and that game has, you know, super awesome and amazing esports scene, and it's completely grassroots. And obviously things are different. This is a fully online game that servers have to stay up and everything like that. It's one of those games where the esports scene was there because Blizzard was wanting an esports scene. If Blizzard hadn't invested as much as they had, and they didn't care that much about, you know, Here's the Storm esports, we really wouldn't have seen much at all. Obviously, we would have seen tournaments here and there, but they would have not been as big as the money being pumped into it by Blizzard. And I mean, that can be a good and bad thing. You know, it's good when companies support esports and stuff like that, but I can kind of make it seem artificial, and it kind of was in a way. But there are obviously pros that were playing. There were sponsorships, and a lot of people, I don't know how much time they got in advance to know about this, but, you know, they're a pro. People could be working for years and years and years. You finally become a pro, and then, oh yeah, the esports scene's literally dead, we've shut it down, and most likely there will not be that many tournaments not made by Blizzard, because, I mean, the game's pretty much being stated as putting on life support. Nobody really is enthusiastic to host a tournament, but we'll have to see how that works. But it's depressing, and that's pretty much it from the blog post, and it's sad, and, you know, unfortunately that happens. It makes sense business wise why Blizzard would want to do this. They want to move their developers, and, you know, they got a lot of skilled developers like they talk about. They want to move those onto other games and, you know, new experiences and stuff like that. And I think one thing to keep in mind with an open mind is a lot of the developers, they're not going to just help Overwatch and StarCraft and, you know, all these other games. A lot of them are being put on completely new ideas and games that we haven't seen. And, you know, they even say that obviously Blizzard Entertainment, Activision Blizzard isn't the most hyped I am of a company for games coming out, considering all the Diablo Immortal stuff that happened. But either way, I think we got to keep an open eye out, you know, for all of this stuff. And, you know, Here's the Storm isn't going to die. It'll still have a player base. You know, it's still going to get updated with new heroes, which will help a lot. It is just kind of sad to know that the game isn't gonna keep trying to flourish and, you know, be as good as it can be. It's just gonna kind of be there, and that's the extent really of it. And yeah, but if you guys have played the game, let me know in the comments down below if you guys, you know, your thoughts on it, if you were enjoying it recently and not anymore. You know, I know my friends and I haven't played it in a little bit, but just because of other games coming out. But we're definitely sad about it. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions, and if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see new content. New videos come out every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And like always, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day.